Irrigation New Zealand is to be guided by a new chief executive in a new location and with a refreshed strategy. As reported in this week's Farmers Weekly by Annette Scott, we are talking to Vanessa Winning very shortly, who has taken up this new role. Former IrrigationNZ Farm Performance Manager Vanessa Winning is looking forward to leading New Zealand's irrigation sector as it heads into a new era of management and renewed focus. Winning has been appointed as the Chief Executive and will take up the role in the new Wellington base. Vanessa joins us now. Thank you so much for joining Sarah's Country with your new hat on, Vanessa. Very exciting times ahead.
It is, thank you, and thanks for having me on the show. Enjoyed catching up with Annette last week. It was good.
And of course, for those who are not familiar with your IrrigationNZ background and your day-to-day role, what will be some of those similarities from that role that you'll bring over into the position of CEO for Irrigation New Zealand?
Probably the main thing is the engagement with farmers directly on the ground, stakeholder management activity, lots of communication, building trust with the public. So kind of quite a good role in terms of activity that we've been doing will actually play a lot in what I'm going to be doing in the future as well. So yeah, really excited actually.
What about your connection and background, if any, to irrigation as such?
Not directly, but indirectly. Quite a large proportion of the irrigation farmers that we've got in the schemes provide for dairy, so I have had a lot to do with the various organisations that are involved in it in the past.
And for those who aren't familiar with the news of the move to Wellington and the recent restructure of Irrigation New Zealand, being disconnected from physically being within a rural service town and being in the beehive may have its challenges, but at the same time there is opportunity by being based in Wellington, isn't there?
Absolutely. Like just first week last week, had 3 meetings with various organisations involved in government. MFE, MPI, and the various group that works on freshwater activity. So first week, basically hit the ground running, really good involvement there, and I think that's the thing that we've been missing in the past. Being based in Canterbury has had a really good opportunity for us in terms of dealing with membership and working with the schemes directly, but having not been in Wellington when we've been invited, it's been difficult to get there, or you know what it's like. You meet someone in a coffee shop, or you run into them in the street. So out of sight, kind of out of mind. So focus has changed. We've worked out that we really do need to do more advocacy, and we have to change the perception of irrigation in this country. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Now I have a fresh off the press release about the excitement of a Northland water storage project that I know Elizabeth Soul, the outgoing CEO, has been wanting to fast track this. This is under the government's COVID-19 Recovery Fast Track Consenting Act. It's incredible what they can do when they put their mind and money to it, isn't it?
It's amazing. Less than 2 months to get this through, which is just outstanding, and we're really pleased about it. And Elizabeth's still involved with the scheme. So she'll still be working with them to make sure everything's, organised in the right way and involved. So, and as you will already know, Elizabeth's staying on with us, which I'm really pleased about because the on-the-ground activity is outstanding. And I think if Minister Parker can get more of these things through the COVID process, this cry out for water that's going on at the moment hopefully will get dulled a little bit.
Yeah, and it's the way that we structure these projects as well, so that they are all beyond, not just about drinking water, and then not just about irrigation, as well as bringing ecological benefits to our waterways as well. The Matawai Water Storage Reservoir has going to boost $9 million a year in GDP and additional 60 jobs in Kaikoui. Now, do you really believe that it took the point of bringing a crisis to our major city, Auckland, there's an understanding of the importance of this and the urgency of it as well?
I do think it helps. I think anything that actually hits you personally changes that perception that you have about things. I also think that people are more aware of the climate change and what's going on in various areas in New Zealand. Northland Nelson, Hawke's Bay, they're all really struggling for water storage and capture. So I do think there is a changing conversation. It's slow, but the more that you can involve the urban in this conversation, the better off we are and the faster things will happen. And I think this particular one is a really nice match between iwi, industry, government. It's a real partnership. So it's not just agriculture that benefits from it, which a lot of the schemes in the past have been. This is actually a holistic scheme that, in fact, it will impact really well for the whole community. So I think what we're going to have to do more of in New Zealand is have a community-based approach to some of these activities, and hopefully a change in some of the RMA legislation around a consent process and maybe even environment court process, and that will therefore help fast track some of these things that actually we should have been doing 10, 20 years ago.
And do you believe that helps bring that social license to the sector when it's about a wider catchments community?
I think so. I think some of the schemes in the past have been focused on more the economic benefits rather than the environmental or social benefits of some of these schemes. And I think there's a real misconception around what type of agriculture will be in various areas. So, I keep saying if you're into craft beer and we've got no water coming into Nelson, we're going to have some problems, aren't we? It's the same in viticulture. I mean, kiwi fruit, avocados. It's not just about our meat and dairy products, actually. It's more about fruit, veggies, and also food security going forward.
And there was an example of that with the tomato grower on the AM show this morning who spoke very passionately about the consequences of not having water and not growing tomatoes as a result of it. Vanessa, I know we will continue to talk with you on Sarah's Country in your new position as Chief Executive Irrigation New Zealand. On behalf of our listeners and viewers, congratulations on the role. Vanessa Winning there from Irrigation New Zealand.
This is Sarah's Country.